All right, Sun fans, what is up? The season is underway. The Sun are unfortunately 0-2, and we are going to get into everything about it. Um, yes, I am wearing the opening night Sun shirt that I did wear yesterday, if you saw on Instagram, but I put it on just for this podcast. Don't think I'm wearing the same shirt 2 days in a row. But Joe, before we get into everything, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Hello, everybody. Thanks, for listening. As always, Alex, shirt's looking great on you. It's the orange. It really brings out the beard.
Yeah, the little orange in my beard.
But no, doing good over here. About to get some nice heavy rain. Feels like it rains every other day here in Connecticut, but it's what we deal with. And I only always talk about the weather because I just love being outdoors right now. So like not being able to be outdoors probably at least tomorrow, if not Friday as well. It's a killer. But Sun went 0-2 this week, but we got to be there on Sunday, which it was a great environment, for opening day. So I
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, my week after that has been revolved around this Apple Watch. I'm now an Apple Watch guy, so that's my life now. Came with this new iPhone that have had since like 5 years. So I'm the last person in my family to get a phone. So yay me. So now I can have more storage for more content, hopefully. But speaking of that, the I was gonna put the vlog up yesterday, but then I figured back-to-back days I was gonna wait, and then I'm gonna I figured I'd put it up Friday. So
Yeah.
there's gonna be a bunch of days without content. We'll put it up Friday, have a bonus day. So the vlog of us going to the opening night will be up on Friday. Look for that. But right now, let's get into our trip. We traveled up to Mohegan Sun to watch the opening day against the Washington Mystic, a game that we were excited about, a game the fans were excited about, a winnable game. Um, let's just get right into it. There were some Mystic fans there. We saw walking around a decent amount of Mystic shirts, not too many, but we thought this arena was going to be packed. It ended up not being that full. We were loud. The arena does get pretty loud. It's small, so it's not hard to make it too loud. But like our section was pretty empty. A lot of the top sections were empty. The lower bowl was pretty full, but I expected a little more out of that, out of the fans to show up. But with this team, it's hard to expect that. But the way they hyped it up, it felt like we sold more tickets.
Yeah, and just the way that it was set up, where it was, Sunday at 1, there wasn't really other sporting event going on like in that moment. You had NBA playoffs later in the day, you had the PGA Championships later in the day. Just seems like Sunday at 1 o'clock seemed like a really prime position for a sold out game. Like you said, our section was pretty light. Seemed like there were a lot of people down below, like you said. Definitely was still loud. When there was things to cheer about, like everyone was really engaged. But yeah, I thought the arena did a good job of like standing out for opening day. There were a lot of different, fun little things where you could go stop at and talk to somebody. They had like a relax zone area. They had multiple giveaways at each spot. Yeah, I got my stress whatever
This
noodles
isn't even a
somewhere in
stress
here.
ball. Like you
No,
can barely squeeze it.
I don't think it is a stress ball. I'm not quite sure. I think it's more for texture. That would be my guess.
Every side is a six. I don't get it. And then I was like, oh, maybe you can pop it and like you can pop them in and like decide what ball is what, and then or what side is what number, and then I was popping them on each side, and every time I'd pop one side, another side would pop out. And so I don't know what the purpose
I
was.
think it's texture. It's to be able to like it's a feel thing of like touching something not smooth. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I only play one on TV. So like I don't know exactly, but I'm assuming it's to do with touch because the rope one that I got, and it for those just listening, it almost looks like a necklace that you can like bend and like twist in different ways. It doesn't do anything, but I think it's just like
Is that a
another like
is that
sensory
a
thing.
form of relaxation?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. It's not
Yeah, I think, like,
relaxing.
some
Actually,
people like to feel the fuzzy wall, some people like a s
I hate
like
to break it to them, but
thick.
this is doing the opposite effect. It's making me anxious because I don't know the purpose of it. Like it's not doing its job. So I'm gonna
Well,
put
it's
it
bright
down.
orange and it can be, it's a good little piece to have,
I'll
but
take anything free, so I love it.
and then the T-shirts, like Alex was wearing, T-shirt was great, as we are, bigger guys, getting the shirts in XL is always a
Yeah,
plus, and
it
it's a
did fit
true
me.
XL, not a shrink one. I don't know if you've washed yours yet, but don't
I
put it
have,
in the dryer because I don't take any chances with that.
yeah, I know mine's
Um,
gonna not fit me once I watch it,
but yeah, I thought, the from the aesthetics of the arena, I thought they did a really good job. My one request, and like hopefully they'll be able to do it at some point, is they need to get a t-shirt cannon. I don't know how they don't have one t-shirt cannon. They just had the dancers and the PA announcer throwing them.
they need
Uh,
Kelsey Plum out there.
they do need her. They need people with some cannon. You gotta throw some shirts for the people up top. Not everyone can afford those luxury seats down below.
Yeah. If that's your only complaint, they did a pretty good job because that's a I don't know how much a t-shirt cannon costs, but let's put that money towards a facility or keeping the team in Connecticut. But yeah, let's talk game. Let's talk about the actual game. We got off to the hottest of hot starts. Unbelievable defense, hands everywhere. Transition buckets. Tina was dominating. We were subbing everybody in. Bria came in and looked absolutely like she never got injured, like she never missed time, like she never missed a step. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was 16-4. Like it was a great start. The hands on defense, the rebounding, like it was one and done, and we were getting the ball up the floor. And I even thought, like, I'm pretty sure I said it to you in the moment. I'm like, man, we're missing some people on these fast breaks too. Like, there's opportunities to throw the ball ahead, and there were some decisions of like, well, we'll hold it for a sec, and then half court offense was also like everything just flowed. It made you think, oh man, are we going to be better than we thought? Because like the Mystic were 1-0. They beat the Atlanta Dream, who we'll talk more about later. Like they were coming in, we're like, oh man, like maybe this game won't be as we were both thinking it was going to be a win. We're in our heads like, oh, maybe this game won't be actually as easy as we thought. Like,
Mhm.
and then, like the starting five looked great together. And then after the starting five, once we started getting other people in, I think that's where it kind of showed our lack of depth at the moment. And again, Rivers didn't play, Mora didn't play, and Lacan didn't play. So like you're looking at three probably realistic like rotational players, whether they're starting coming off the bench. So you had, with Peters, Parks, and Diaby getting the end of first quarter, early second quarter minutes. Like, and I'll segue into, that like the first quarter looked awesome. And then once we went to the depth, we started allowing the Mystics to get, a couple offensive rebounds, a couple being able to move the ball a lot easier. Like it just wasn't as clean because our talent wasn't as deep as, the players that were still in for the Mystic.
Yeah, our team did get gassed in the second half. You could tell. Yeah, we subbed a lot and tried to prevent it, but we just didn't have enough bodies and didn't play them enough. I guess I don't know what the right answer is. It just was too early in the season, maybe mixed with just not a good enough rotation of or the correct rotation of minutes for Tina and Mabry because they probably played the most.
Yeah, especially too with Mabry. She was 5 of 21, I believe, from the field, and like a couple of her shots, like she had to work hard to get it. It wasn't as clean as just like catch on the wing, catch and shoot, or one move to the basket. Like she was making 3, 4, combination counter moves to get to a spot, and then if she got blocked or had a bad miss, then like the ball was running the other way.
Mhm.
I also think like in the second half, Sykes, who is a very good guard in the league. We talked about her being, uh, a veteran on that team and like a double-digit scorer for an entire career. And like she put on her closer hat, and if she didn't foul out, I'm sure the Mystic actually would have won by a bit more the way she was cooking and flowing in that fourth quarter. But that kind of showed the difference of like having a true closer and having someone, I don't want to say attempt to be the closer, because I do think Mabry is going to be that for us and has to be that for us from the perimeter. But there was a clear difference of the shot qualities they were getting in the fourth quarter versus what we were getting.
Yeah. There just other parts of the game overall that I took away. Just too many fouls in general. 60 fouls is a lot. Not to say that this is all in the refs. It was bad. There was bad play from both teams. Other things, Liv looked amazing. She was getting after it on both ends and putting the ball in the hoop, not just getting to the free throw line. And yeah, like you already pointed out, Marina was completely off. Not even sure why at that point she got the last shot. I know we needed a 3, and like I would have given it. Bria was back in for the last possession, right?
Yep,
They took
Hartley,
Allen out. Yeah,
JC, and
at
Marina
that point,
for
just
the
give it to
tables.
her. She was probably the hottest hand. JC could have maybe shot it. I don't know. At that point, it was just like give it to whoever gets open.
And it wasn't just that.
Time.
Like there were still 29 seconds left when that possession started. So you didn't need the 3 right away. But like once it got down to like 17, 16 seconds, then Marina was like, oh, I've got to get a 3 up now. And like she got a halfway decent look for what it's worth on the step back, but it wasn't the look that you would want from 29 seconds on. And again, I think that's just a young team. And yes, I know Tina's Tina and Marina has a few years under her belt, but like under this system with this team, like they're going to be cleaner. I heard on the broadcast last night, not to jump ahead to the second game, but I heard on the broadcast last night, this final roster has been put together for a week. They've been in training camp for 3 weeks. Like there's still so much to be learned, early in the season. But yeah, I mean, it was just disappointing because, we had the lead for most of the game. We played well for most of the game. And then those fouls that you mentioned, 60 fouls between the two teams. Both teams were tired. And then, when you're tired, it's a lot harder to mentally move your feet one more step or not reach in or not bump somebody because it's harder to do in that moment. And I do think we just were gassed. I think every position was just, and we kept the starters in outside of Hartley coming in for like the last play. We kept the starters in from like the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we did.
Like
I was begging Hartley
like
to come in
Coach
too because
Mez
we
went
needed
for
scoring.
it.
As much as
Coach
Allen
Mez
was
went
playing,
for it. And
yeah, Allen was playing great. She was getting a lot of assists, but we needed scoring. And as a former player / coach, and you see a lot of these players, is getting gassed on opening night like a thing, or should you be like should that never happen?
I think,
I get both sides of it.
yeah, like for us at the high school, let's like look at our season. We start basketball tryouts the December 1st. The first game is normally December 9th or 10th. Like that's like, 10 days. You try to fit in 2 or 3 scrimmages, practices, all this stuff. But like we tell the kids all the time, like you got to come into the season in shape. Like don't use that 9 days to try to get yourself into shape. And then on top of that, obviously practicing and scrimmaging, and even if you're replicating live scrimmages in practice, there's nothing like playing a real game. The stop, the go, the ebbs, the flows, the media timeouts, okay, you got 10 seconds of a break here. Like there's so many like caveats to it. And I think just what we're learning is the WNBA season, like it gets going fast. There's only been like 3 weeks of training camp, 2 preseason games. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these teams are using these games also as preseason games. And that goes into what you were saying before. Everyone played in the first quarter except Rhea. You know, you had 9 people coming in the first quarter because I think it was, let's see what we have, but also like we need to see what we have from these players if we have to make more cuts or if people are coming back from injury or so it's like it's almost an extension. You never want to say you're throwing games away because you're not. But earlier in the year, you're definitely like trying to figure out what you have from a squad. And some of that is what kind of shape you're in. You know, it's who are my horses, who are not. Marina played 36 minutes. She wasn't playing much in Unrivaled. She only played in one preseason game. Like, was 36 minutes too much for her that first game? You don't know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I didn't even think of that we're still kind of playing preseason in the first quarter. True. Yeah, the only other note I had from this game is, everyone did play in the game except Ray Marshall. But the top performers from the game were Tina Marshall, 23-10, Olivia Nelson-Adodo, 18-8. That's a huge game for her. This, like we said, she's going to be a matchup nightmare or disaster, and I think we have the whole spectrum on this episode. And then you have JC, Bria, and Mabry both with 11 points. I think that's a great game for JC and Bria and a terrible game for Mabry. But it is what it is. We blew the game at the end. Want to touch on that a little bit. We were leading the entire game. We were leading big for the first quarter, decently for the second quarter, not by a lot for the third quarter, blew it in the fourth, and then lost by 5.
Yeah, you could kind of see it happening too. It's one of those like slow car accidents where it's like you just have to, you're just watching it. There's nothing you could do about it. Like it was just, Washington, like I said, they started to hit threes in a row, like a couple threes in a row. They started to, force us into a couple tougher shots. We got lucky in the third quarter. They missed 5 free throws in a row at one point, when the game was when we were still, I think, 4 or 5 points ahead.
So huge, and we couldn't capitalize.
Right. Like there was some just bad shot selections. I actually loved it. Coach Mez in the post-game conference, like you could tell he was frustrated that they lost. And obviously he wanted to win his first game and sees that he had the opportunity to win. He goes, I believe, I don't know the whole sentence, but it was just, there was a lot of stupid ball out there that we have to get rid of.
Oh, right? Yeah, we were talking about how much we were passing, and he was talking about overpassing.
Yeah,
he's like, you don't want to. He's like, we were passing great, but sometimes we were doing it too much. Like, you don't want to pass up an open shot and play stupid ball.
Yeah, it was play stupid ball of like you said, overpassing or underpassing. And I feel like in the first half there was a lot more ball movement, a lot more screens into handoffs into screens into handoffs into screen. Like it was a lot more movement, where the second half really became like, okay, maybe Olivia or Charles sets a high ball screen and then maybe goes screen away. But it was like, if that didn't work, then it was isolation. And again, that goes into that fatigue standpoint as well, where you're just like, you're almost at that point just hoping that someone hits a big shot, so it gives you a little more juice. And that big shot just never came, right? It just never came there at the end.
Yeah. I hate to compare it to NBA, but because I know a lot of listeners don't even watch the NBA, but it's just reminded me of a classic mid 2000s Knicks game, random, oh, they're winning all game, and then just 3 minutes left, they just can't score, and the other team can't miss, and for some reason, and they just lose by 5-10, and you're just oh, what the hell just happened? It's did we even have a chance of winning this game? It felt like we couldn't lose.
It just felt things were going our way for a lot of that first half, and then, like I said, it just slowly fell apart. Yeah, I mean, it stinks. It's tough, but again, it's game 1, and someone had to win, someone had to lose, and we
At
came
least
up
we
short.
got a T-shirt and Bobby's Burgers. All right. Well, a few days later, we had to play the Aces, and that did not go well. We had the same starting 5: Lindsay Allen, JC Sheldon, Marina Maybe, Olivia Nelson-Ododa, Tina Charles. I just have like some notes, I guess. Started off with Olivia Nelson-Ododa on Asia Wilson, and it's just not a matchup I wanted to see on either side of the floor for a full game. We immediately had 3 fouls and then 1 offensive, so 4. It was in the first 3.5 minutes. 9-0 run like that for the Aces before Tina got a bucket for us to do something. We only had 1 good play for like the first 5 minutes, and it was a backdoor Marina cut, which was assisted by Tina. We had a similar first quarter where we subbed everyone in, playing preseason ball, like you said. But Marshall came in, which was awesome, and I got very excited. Some notes on her I had were she played really good D on Asia, especially compared to Nelson-Ododa. One highlight, she made her dribble out of bounds. She also just bodied her up and had her miss a layup. Asia called foul, but didn't get the call, if I'm remembering that correctly. Sanaya subbed in for the first time in the season as well. She got a few minutes and then left, and then came back and played really well, but we'll get to that. Rhea had a nice hook pass to Hartley for a corner 3. Really falling in love with both of those players. If I'm going to take anything away from these games, it's Bria Hartley probably becoming a very notable player, and Rhea Marshall, I'm thankful she's got minutes in this game. And then, when Rivers came back in, instant good hands and defense. And then I didn't love Rhea coming out for Parks and Peters when Asia went out. But without Asia, I really wanted to see Olivia Nelson-Ododa come back in. That's when I wanted to see Liv come in and dominate. But every active Sun player played in the first. Sanaya picked Chelsea Gray's pocket and scored on the other end for a fast break. That was a positive. Mabry couldn't score, and Tina and Mabry were having a pretty awful first half. What do you got?
Yeah, I texted you. I was like, "Whoa, this was a really." I watched the game after. I couldn't watch it until I got home from clinic, so I turned it on, and I think I texted you like 2 minutes into the game, and I'm like, "Oh, this kind of went exactly how we thought it was going to go." But I think I think this game was a really good parameter to be like, okay, we're a brand new team. We're implementing players, trying to figure out roles. And they're playing against a team who, for the most part, most of their pieces have been there for the last 5 years or so, right? Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Asia Wilson, Brianna Stokes, like really, really like performative people. They added a couple players like Dana Evans, and obviously Jewel Lloyd was, a sharpshooter the other night or last night. But like, those are easy players to implement into a winning system, right? So like,
Yeah,
they had the chemistry. Their chemistry show. Chelsea Gray and Jackie Young were picking apart our young defense on rolls and screens and angles because they know exactly where Asia wants the ball, right, on the roll. They know exactly where the shooter wants the ball in a corner, whether they played with Jewel Lloyd on the Olympics or All-Star game. Like, there's familiarity. There's You want to help me here? Familiarity. Thank you. It's a lot of syllables for me. And but
it's not just
so
names.
they know how to play with each other. Where I think where I was disappointed is, and again, this is a lot of what Vegas dictated for us to do versus just like, I think in our heads are like, this is what we're gonna do. I think in the first quarter I saw 3, 4, maybe 5 turnaround jumpers, like turnaround fadeaway jumpers, like not great shots, like shots that weren't being taken against the Mystic, So it was just getting that confidence, like, oh, this is what we have to do. I mean, at one point in the first quarter, it was 21-13, 21-15, something along those lines. So like, it wasn't like we couldn't play with them. It just turned into that whole thing again of, fouled a lot, a little foul trouble here and there. Liv looked outmatched. JC looked outmatched by some, Jackie and Chelsea Gray, like, who are two of the top guards in the league, veteran players. So I think it was just two ends of the NBA standings, where it's this one team is going to be a top 4 championship contender, and another team is going to look to improve as the year goes on. I look at this game and I say, okay, we lost by, I believe it was 27, right? 87, 62, 25 points. You look later in the year, say 3 or 4 weeks from now, does that score get closer? Do we improve? Do we figure something out? Do we have, Lacan and Morrow back playing more minutes than a couple of the other people who I think, quite frankly, shouldn't be on the floor a lot? But you look at things like, I'm not going to criticize them like they didn't do this and therefore they lost by 25. Like, I just think it's two teams that are at two different points in this beginning of the season of what they're looking for.
Yeah. So I have quotes from Morgan Tuck. She joined the broadcast. She said a bunch of good, cool things. So I'll get to that. But only things I noticed from the second were more defense from Sanaya and Rhea Marshall.
Sanaya looked like she belonged.
Yeah, and on the broadcast, they said Sanaya thought she was getting 10 minutes tonight or last night, and Mez said she only practiced twice, so she didn't want to give her too much, and then she played well and could stay and was good enough to stay in, so they just kept her, and she played.
She was arguably the second best player on the floor last night.
Yeah, well, for us,
and Tina, for us, yeah.
And Tina didn't even play that well, and she got 20 points, so Tina's that good. But here were some quotes from Morgan Tuck. She said, we had to change up and get younger. We have to get them out there and get our reps. People we thought had potential in the draft and elsewhere, or when she was asked people we thought had potential in the draft and elsewhere, talked about Lacan and the 2 draft picks on getting younger in this roster. And I guess who is the other rookie on this team? Marshall and from
Morrow, Rivers, Marshall,
Diaby. Thank you. So they got 3 rookies from the draft and 1 from last year that played overseas, and then 1 from overseas. So talking about where they got all their young players. Both draft picks are big pieces for the future, so they really believe in Morrows and Sanaya specifically. Both talking about the first round picks. When asked if they were looking for specifically Euro style of play when looking for a coach, they said they went in open-minded, and Rashid Mezian emerged with his style and experience. So they were open to any style of play, and they liked that the most. She said she was inspired by seeing how cool Pat Riley looked on the sidelines at Knicks and Heat games as a GM. So that's why she wanted to become a GM. And they asked if it's somebody she talks to, and she goes, "I wish I could talk to Pat Riley." She says the team has been only together for a few weeks. This is the one you were talking about. It takes time, and we need some stuff off the court as well to gel, and it will take time. I think the energy, she's so young. We're really excited for her based on what she's done overseas. We're excited, but we're excited for our youth, but it's going to take time on what to expect from Layla Lacan. So get excited, Joe. That's your girl.
Shout out, she just won MVP in the
did.
finals over there. So just to add to the excitement.
And then the last quote was something that stood out to her from being around the team in camp, and just the willingness to buy into the process, going through the turnover. It's hard when the options of people on the the opinions of the people on the outside are negative, but the people in the room are buying in, even when games like today don't go your way. They know it'll take time and effort. So yeah, they
Mind you,
know that everyone's
she was being interviewed while they were down 30.
yeah.
So good on her to still do the broadcast.
Yeah, and that quote's basically her saying everyone was saying we're going to be shit, and we knew we were going to be shit, and we know it's going to be a process, and everyone's buying into the process.
Yeah, I
So it's
mean,
better than people saying we expect to win. I hate when you hear that from a team that's clearly going to be a terrible team.
we looked at this roster and we said there are 12 roster spots. 8 of the roster spots are people under the age of 25.
Yeah,
Right? Like, it's a young team, and having someone like Tina in the building and Bria Hartley back, like, they are veterans of this league and have won in this league. So it's like they're going to show these young players how to be pros.
yeah. If Sanaya Rivers has like 6 more games like this, just sign her to like an 8-year extension. Just get it done now. Just do what they do in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, she looked
Everybody but
great.
the Yankees does in baseball, I should say. The Yankees never do it.
No, no, Atlanta Braves, that's their style.
Yeah, and the
But
Orioles.
Rivers looked so great, like in limited action, limited flow. Obviously, everything that happened with her mom, like the quotes after the game were great from her too, where it was like, "Oh, my mom got to meet everyone,
Mhm.
and she could rest easy knowing I was in good hands." Like that's just like such a wise, mature, like thoughtful quote.
And it's good
And like
hearing that.
basketball,
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
no, I was going to just say it's good hearing that somebody thinks that Connecticut is good, like the team is good hands, because it's a lot of people talk shit about this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, it was a rebuild. They got to a point last year where they thought to themselves, hey, we've made it to the semifinals a couple times in a row with this same core roster, and they couldn't get over the hump. So they made the decision, like, we're going to go get younger and we're going to start over. Like, just think about how many teams are just stuck in that middle, right?
Yeah,
Like, we're going to make the playoffs or we're going to come close every year. Like, no, sometimes you have to tear it down. You have to rebuild it, and you have to go. Again, we compare it to the NBA because that's the basketball we watch. But think about how many teams we've seen make it to the second round of the playoffs in the NBA. And then I'll take the Utah Jazz for an example of recent years. And then they traded both Gobert and Donovan Mitchell in the same offseason. Like,
yeah,
you just get to a point where you're like, all right, we could either stay in this middle or we can go try to, get a top draft pick, get a top star and rebuild organically. Because again, we talked about I guess over the last couple of years, you think the WNBA, Vegas had Jackie Young and Asia Wilson pretty much back-to-back years, if not back-to-back years. Ionescu changed the flight path for the New York Liberty, and Caitlin Clark changed the flight path for Indiana Fever. You changed the timetable because you were able to get that organic star out of the draft.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm very much happier now than I was at the draft that we got Sanaya. She doesn't ever need to shoot because she's just going to steal the ball and lay it up. So
She went 1 of 2 from 3, and it looked good.
yeah, she can do that. It's fine. But yeah, the top performers for us in this game were Tina 20-5, Rivers 11-4-2 with 2 steals, and then no one else had over 8 points. So yeah, 0-2. That is week 1. Now it's time to go over the stats from week 1. Joe, before we go over that from fantasy points, I have to ask you a question for what do you want to do going forward? Do you want for who picks first going forward? Do you want it to be whoever is in second place, or do you want it to be whoever didn't pick first the week before?
Well, let's see. If I'm going to be in second place all season long, I probably want to pick. Now we can. I think every other week works.
You sure?
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
matter to
think
me.
that's the way to go.
Okay. It's gonna be you either way. So I beat Joe this week 184 to 156.
Oof.
My team had Asia Wilson 41 points, Tina Charles 40 points and 25 points, Marina Mabry 19 and 10, pretty disappointing. Sykes 39, Shakira Austin disappointing 7, and Nye had 3. Uh, Joe, you had Lloyd with 25, Young with 21, Liv with 26 and 14, JC with 13 and 3. She got nothing in that second game. Kiki with a huge game of 32, Citron with 22 for a total of 156. So, yeah, Asia really pulled through with 41. She's leading the league now with most fantasy points.
Yeah, I was disappointed. JC obviously played pretty well that first game. She did not have much going on in that second game. Nothing I don't think to worry about. I think they left her out there in the fourth quarter to try to get some extra shots up. Obviously didn't fall. But yeah, once I saw JC did not score, I was like, I think I'm coming up short this week.
Yeah, so I'm up 1-0 with a total of 184 to 156. But we both got the brightest star with Tina Charles, correct?
Yep.
And we both went one. We both said we'd go 1-1, and we went 0-2.
Yeah, again, we were right there in that first game. Second game, we knew what was going to happen. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of how much.
Oh, one thing we forgot to mention was Red Panda. Shout out to Red Panda.
Oh, great halftime show.
Yeah, the
I mean,
legend.
it's literally been on my bucket list to be at a sporting event, and she's out there, and
Yeah,
like
I can't believe they got her.
she did not disappoint.
Yeah,
Did
those
not disappoint.
legs, those
Shout
legs
out,
are strong as hell.
shout out to the GOAT, Red Panda.
All right, let's preview this week 2 games. We got 3 of them. So, fantasy, who knows? Do you pick the best player, or do you pick a player that's playing 3 times? I don't know. That's up to you, Joe.
Am I starting the pick, or are we doing previews first? I can't
No,
remember.
we're doing previews first. You got a long time to decide. But
Good.
all right. So on the Friday the 23rd, we got a few days until Sun basketball, which is pretty disappointing. But we got the 0-2 Connecticut Sun at the for now 2-0 Minnesota Lynx. Lynx coming off double-digit road victories against Dallas and Los Angeles, and have their home opener against Dallas tonight before taking on us on Friday. Like I said, the injury reports as of today, Wednesday the 21st. I know you're listening to this on Thursday the 22nd, but as of today, Wednesday the 21st, LeCann is day to day and should be getting here soon. Her return is estimated to be on the 23rd, so should be here for this game. Morrow, Coach Mezian said Tuesday, which was yesterday, that he hopes she can return next week to games. So it's estimated return is the 25th. But who knows? For the Lynx, Alana Smith is day to day, estimated to return the 21st, so she should be back. And Kayla McBride has been out with personal reasons for the season, and she's estimated to return this day as well on the 23rd. So that should happen. I don't know how accurate these estimated days are, but let's take them with a grain of salt. But let's act like they're going to be accurate. Joe, what are the X's and Joes, and what is the path to victory?
Yeah, taking a look at the schedule early on, I'm like, we got the Mystic. Hopefully, we have a couple games that help us ease into the season, make it easier to learn the roles, and then you have the Vegas and you have Minnesota Lynx back to back. If you watched our prediction episode for the season, you know how I feel about the Minnesota Lynx. They're just a really good team. They have Nafisa Collier, who's top 3 player in the league, if not top 2 player in the league this year.
Yeah.
Brianna Stewart and Asia being the other 2. Don't worry, I'm not putting Caitlin up there just yet, Alex.
No, it's Asia and her. It's Asia and her. It's Freeze 3. Even though she's my MVP this year, I think overall she's probably 3.
Right. Oh, that's fair. Completely
And I
fair.
love Brianna. She's probably my favorite of the three. I love
So,
all three of them, to be honest.
there's there's it's the same idea. Minnesota's returning a lot of players from last year. The team that went to the finals lost in 5 games. So, you look at players like Bridget Carlton, who's a very good shooter. You have Natasha Heidman off the bench. Elena Smith, if she does play, very, very good stretch forward that pairs with Nafisa really well. I actually think the key, because I just believe Nafisa is going to get hers no matter what. She's a matchup nightmare, whether it's I would assume it's going to be Olivia guarding her to start, just because Nafisa is a true power forward. Maybe she's a small forward in some people's eyes, but it's that true stretch four. But I actually think guard Courtney Williams is going to be the key player to lock in on. I think Fisa's getting hers no matter what. Courtney Williams is a really, really good starting point guard in the league. She's off the ball pull up shooter, always looking off the dribble, but still this year she's averaging almost 10 assists a game in the 2 games so far. So it's not like she's just, jacking up shots. Like she has a plan every time she comes down the floor. I think between Lindsay Allen and JC, or not, Lindsay and JC at the start, and then probably Rivers at some point. Like, we got to throw different bodies at her, try to get her, uncomfortable in that mid range. And then outside of that is, our bigs getting the rebounds. It's going to be a common theme in all 3 games this week. But Minnesota is a team that attacks the boards. They've got a lot of different bodies between Diamond Miller, between Elena Smith, between Nafisa Collier. Like, they have forwards who go after the boards. So I think, you try to limit some of their shooting. Kayla McBride, if she doesn't play, if she's still out for the personal reasons, like, if she doesn't play, that's one less shooter you've got to worry about. But Minnesota's a team there. Coach Cheryl Reeves, I think she was voted best offensive coach in the league. She's going to throw things out there, and, got to make sure our on ball and help side defense is there, because they'll throw the skip pass for the shooters. So it's not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the means, but I think it's another game that's going to be good for us to see. Where we are at early on in the season against a title contending team.
Yeah. My expectations, no hope. Don't think we can stop Fee, let alone I don't think we can stop Courtney Williams, Alana Smith, who are averaging 19 and 18 respectively, let alone Nafisa Collier. They don't seem to have like too much depth, but McBride is coming back or should be coming back, but they don't really need it. Not like we're rolling with that much depth either, like of scoring depth. So like it's a moot point. I just yeah.
Well, their depth compared to ours is like designed roles. Like, Heideman's a true backup point guard. Diamond Miller is a true small power forward that can rotate those positions. Like, they have their bench has Bridget Carlton, same thing if she's not starting and coming off. Like, they have defined roles, and again, team chemistry.
Yeah, they don't need them to score more than like 5 points a game.
Right. And one big ad I forgot, Carly Samuelson, they traded for her right before the season started. Katie Lou's sister. And we know all the Samuelson sisters, they shoot the ball very, very well. It's one thing they can do.
All right. The next game we are going is on Sunday, the 25th. The Sun are at the Atlanta Dream, who are 1-1 as of today. Atlanta opened on the road and lost a tough one at the end of the game to Washington, just like we did. But they happened to tough one out on the road against Indiana a few days later, which was crazy to see. They have a home opener against Indiana tomorrow. When you're listening to this, it'll be that night. Hopefully, you're listening to that as soon as it comes out. And then they have to play Dallas before facing the Sun on the second day of a back-to-back. So that's good news for us. The injury report for the Dream is Jordan Cannon has been out with a knee injury and will be reevaluated soon and could be back just in time for the game. Back to you for X's and Joes and the path to victory.
Did I mention rebounding? If rebounding was important against Minnesota, it's just as important here. You have the Twin Towers, Brittany Griner and Bree Jones. I think the craziest thing is before this season, Alex, I said in our prediction videos, Atlanta is going to be this really weird team because I'm not sure if they're going to be able to shoot the ball well enough with all these bigs on their roster.
Yeah.
So far, they have taken a lot of threes, and
Yep.
even their first game, this past game against Indiana, like both games so far, they're scoring almost 90 points a game. I believe it was like they scored 87 and like I didn't look, it was like 87 and almost 90 in the 2 games. Like they can put the ball on the hoop. They have Twin Towers with Brittany Griner and Bree Jones, both averaging Griner's numbers so far early this season: 20 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, and Bree Jones, nothing to sniff at, is averaging almost 18 a game and almost 12 rebounds a game. So for Tina and Olivia, they better get their rest the night before because they're going to be banging bodies down in that paint. Bree Jones, we know her from last year. Like she knows how to move people around in the paint, and Brittany Griner is 6'9". You can't teach it, and she knows how to use her body as well. Very strong, turnaround, hook shots, fades. The X factor, I think, this game, even though Alicia Gray has shot the ball really well so far, I think Ryan Howard is, one of the top perimeter players. I feel like with the 2 bigs inside this season compared to last season, she's so far taking a lot more threes than I remember her taking last year. But in the game against Indiana, the third quarter, she came out and hit 4 threes out of like 4. She went 4 for 5 from 3. Like she's getting a good look. She's 6'2". She's long. It's limiting her catches, limiting her, her ability to just catch and shoot. But I really think the key in this game is going to be limiting the second chance opportunities. It's boxing out, it's rebounding, it's forcing tough shots, and it's not just going to be on Tina and Olivia. It's all 5, right? I think a couple times I've seen so far this year. I hope she doesn't listen to the podcast yet. Maybe when we're a little bit bigger. But Marina, I love you, but weak side rebounding, they're coming off to your side. If the 2 bigs are boxing out on the front side, I think I've seen it 3 or 4 times so far in 2 games where someone's just run right behind her to go get a offensive rebound because she turned her back or she was just watching, hoping someone else was going to go get the ball. But I will say, I think Rivers has showed in her first game a bit that she has a little knack for the ball, which we knew coming in because of the way she plays defense. But she got herself in position to get some rebounds too. So hopefully that helps. But rebounding from a team perspective, I think is the most important thing to do against, because it sounds like we're going to be able to score. Indiana and the Mystics both scored. They put up baskets. So, if we can get up and down a little bit with Olivia running the floor, Tina running the floor, and, getting some shooters on the wing, like the ball's going to go in the hoop. And I think every single one of Atlanta's team games this year is going to go like this in some capacity, where we're winning for a while, then we go cold, then we get hot, then we go cold. So it's just a matter of being on the right end of that streak at the right time during the game.
Yeah. Alex's expectations are, it depends on Atlanta. They're playing a back-to-back, which is big for us. If Atlanta plays like they did versus Washington, we have a chance. If they play like they did versus Indiana, we're screwed. If Griner's missing shots down low and looks like she doesn't know how to make a bucket, that we can win. If she's just dominating down low, we have no shot. Charles has a chance to lock her up. If Olivia Nelson-Ododo is on her, I think it's over. Bree Jones is, I think, even though she's a big body and can be physical, I think she's a lot softer than Brittany Griner, and can be a lot easier of a matchup, even though she's dominating right now. I'd put Nelson-Ododo on Bree Jones, and Charles on Griner. But at the end of the day, I don't see us winning this one. Realistically, but I wouldn't say there's no chance. So realistically, I'd give us like a 30% chance to sneak this one out on the highest on the as their ceiling. For a team with a lot of bigs, they are shooting a lot more than expected. Take advantage if they're missing, run in transition, and just try to be pesky as hell.
You know who I actually think could be a good person to get some like a good 10 to 12 minutes in this game? Diaby. I think someone like that can push around Bree Jones and Brittany a little bit, maybe get them off their spots. Again, not asking her to go out there and score, like have a double-double, but just to put body and pressure on it, maybe save some fouls early on from Olivia and Tina, where if the game's in reach, you can give them a little bit of an extended break because Diaby can go out there. We saw against the Mystic there, like she bodied who was Shakira Austin, led her to getting a technical foul because she didn't like the physicality. And then last night there was a stretch where Diaby put a post-up move where she got into Asia Wilson's chest, caused her to back up a little bit, and then went around her for a layup, and then, bumped her off the line on defense. So, Diaby might be growing a little bit on me, a couple minute stretches. I would like Marshall to also be in that rotation. I don't think Haley Peters has worked so far as the backup power forward. So,
It looked so good at first. She hit those 3 threes.
Yeah, it was like stretch, but it seems like she's just fouling everybody. Like she can't move her feet, staying with anybody. So if you want to go 2 bigs, like why not do Marshall and Diaby or Charles and Diaby? Like any combination of the 4, maybe not the 2 rookies together for a lot of minutes, but some kind of combination of that to keep, Tina and Olivia out of foul trouble, but then also, continue to put some bodies and pressure on Atlanta's bigs.
Diaby also played for Mezion in France.
Yeah, I heard that too in the interview. I literally wrote, coach's pick. Because at first I was like, why is she still here? And I'm like, you know what? She played for him last year. And like,
they're speaking French to each other. They got to be.
Right. Like, there's got to be a comfort area for there as well. So, like I told you, I've changed my tune. I'm rooting for her. I think my other 2 that I would assume when Morrow and Lacan comes back, like 1 or 2 of them's got to be gone. Like, I think, right? Isn't it one more person has to be gone?
Yeah, Parks is not playing that much.
Yeah, like
I'm going to pull up the minutes.
She played 20 something minutes in the first game, and I can't remember what it was last night, but I'm pretty sure she had a good run last night, and I think 2 points and maybe a rebound and an assist. And
Peters got 12. Peters got Marshall got 10 minutes. Peters got 12. Allen only got 11,
which was weird as well.
Diaby got 13. Yeah, where's Parks got 20. She did nothing.
Yeah,
2 points, 0.
Robin and the Parks rebound. The one rebound happened right now.
47 minutes. She's got 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists and 3 steals.
Is that including the preseason?
No. Haley Peters has played 29 points and had 7 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists.
29 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the end of our bench, hopefully, if we're replacing Parks and Peters with Morrow and Lacan, bodes a little better for us because then, Bria can go to her natural 2-3 instead of kind of playing pseudo backup point guard. Because, like we said, JC, Bria, like they're more combo guards, where Lacan is probably more, and Rivers, they're more combo guards, where like Lacan is a true point guard. So
yeah, her and Allen will be the 2.
Yeah, so the rotations will kind of fit once Layla gets her butt over to good old C2.
All right, we got one more game this week. It's on Tuesday, the 27th, squeezed in right before the recording of the podcast. The Sun are at home versus the currently 0-2 Dallas Wings. Dallas has lost by double digits to the Lynx. but had only an 8-point loss against the Storm, who are a pretty solid team. Should be better than they are, I guess. They will have to play at Minnesota, like I said, for their home opener, and then go to Atlanta, and then come to Connecticut and play a back-to-back. So that's again another
A
team
lot of
playing
travel.
a back-to-back. No current injuries though for the Wings, so they're very healthy. Joe, back to you.
Yeah, we get to see a couple familiar faces for Connecticut. One of them being DJ Carrington. Like, she was your favorite player last year. Swag, style, defender. Kind of what we're hoping that Sonia Rivers is going to turn into. Second coming of DJ Carrington. She's a very good on-ball defender. I would be guessing that she's going to be guarding Mavry from the start. We'll see. Mabry's been a little feisty with people guarding her this year. She's had a couple offensive fouls with pushing people off. So we'll see if Carrington tries to get in her face. Then we have the debut of Paige Beckers playing at Mohegan Sun for Dallas. You can't say Paige hasn't really met expectations so far in her first couple games. I think she's just going to continue to get more and more comfortable as she's on the floor. Dallas, from their first 2 games, and again, we're watching all the W now. We're paying attention to everything that's going on. Dallas seems to switch a lot on their screens. We got to take advantage. I've seen Paige having to guard Collier at times in the post. There's a very viral photo of her trying to hold her ground as Nafisa's backing her down. So we got to take advantage of those switches as well. But the key here, and she has gotten off to a slow start this season. I've done Hooked on Phonics to pronounce the last name, and I'm still scared to do it. But Arike
Agumbawale.
There it is. And, she's been off to a slow start, only averaging 12 points a game, but we know that she's a perennial all-star and, one of the top shooting guards in the league. So hopefully we're able to, hold her in check. And, I think probably JC and Rivers probably end up on her as the main matchups. It's about making her uncomfortable, forcing her to take bad shots. And, she will take bad shots. She's a bad shot taker, but she's a bad shot maker as well. So I really think, they're in the same boat as us, where they're trying to maneuver in a bunch of different players here that weren't on their squad before. And, they looked pretty good against Seattle, but how I feel about Seattle. I think they're a middle of the road team. I think this could be a really good game for us to potentially sneak out a win against a team that's probably going to end up somewhere near us in the standings.
All right, my expectations is I like this matchup a lot, especially seeing the Wings play now. I'm not scared of them at all. They're coming off a back-to-back. We have to win this game. This is a must-win. I will be significantly mad if we lose this game. We will have a significantly long therapy session on Instagram if we lose this game. We'll have a celebration on Instagram once we win this game. This will be our first win of the season. Unless something crazy happens, if we win one of these other 2, then we'll go even crazier. But Tina and Liv have to dominate this game. The Wings don't have real centers. McCowan doesn't really get tons of minutes. Hines Allen, Melissa Smith, and Maddie Segrist don't really scare me enough that for Tina and Liv to not dominate this game down low, especially Tina. That's where I expect to get most of our points. I expect the game to really open up. Let's just go out there, let Paige get a big ovation, and let's just dominate this game.
Yeah, I find it funny as we're doing these, with all my, I don't want to call it media training because it's not really that, but it kind of is, how my responses are very black and white and, all right, here's what I think. And we're looking at this and looking at that. And then you just come right in and it's no, we better win or I'm going to lose my mind. And we're going to have therapy on Instagram. It just makes me laugh that, the viewers are getting both sides here of my calm and calculated versus yours just No. This is my emotions. These are the emotions behind this pick.
That's the point. Yeah, I can't give common calculator, and I can't give X's and O's. So
maybe 1 week during the season when there's only one game, we'll flip it.
yeah,
I'll give it a passionate rant, and you can give your X's and O's. We'll
my
teach
X's
you a
and O's
couple
would be
things.
terrible. I haven't played basketball since low level Wakeman. I don't even know how to explain what that level. It's
Rec.
not. It's rec. It's not. It's much worse than AAU. I was never a good basketball player. I never learned much about X's and O's about basketball. I was a baseball guy who watched pro wrestling all my life. That's what I know about. But yeah, I love watching basketball. I'm not a coach, but I get really upset when my teams lose, and I get really happy when my teams win, and I get passionate about players. I know what good play looks like. I know what bad play looks like. I just don't know like why it's happening as much as I should. All right, Joe, what is your record prediction for this week?
So my ceiling for this week would be 2-1, right? It'd be a toss-up game against Atlanta and winning against Dallas. And then I think Minnesota will kind of go very similarly to Minnesota. But I think realistically, I'm going to put us down for 1 and 2. Atlanta, I just hope it's a competitive game. I hope we're in it. Like I said, right now, like if we lose close games, I'm not going to be upset about it. It's continuing to learn. I loved the first game, and yes, I could overreact and WNBA Twitter and react that way, or it's throw everyone away, trade everyone, the season's over. But like, it's going to take time. I don't think you can start being critical to this team for maybe about 15 into game 15 or 20. So I'm going to say we go 1 and 2, and that Atlanta game is a close one.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can tell usually by my expectations what my record prediction is. Sometimes I may throw out a different and throw out a heart pick and shock you, but I'm going 1 and 2 as well, and we're going to lose the Atlanta game. We're definitely winning that Dallas game. Sorry, Paige, love you, but you're going to have a good game. You're going to put up like 18 points and like 10 assists, but we're going to win going away. All right.
Well, in that Dallas game too, sounds like we would have our full roster by then if Morrow is back. So it would be very exciting to get to see Morrow play.
Yeah, that would be cool. All right, fantasy time.
Oof.
You have the first pick. I have my fantasy board ready with all 16 players that I can pick from.
So we're going 2. So just a reminder for everyone, it's going to be 2 players from each team. And since the Sun have 3 games this week, the multiplier is going to be the totals from all 3 games versus 2 games.
Yes, and it's points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks.
All right. So then in that case, with my first pick, and I am going to use the 3-game.
Okay.
3-game multiplier here is going to be Tina Charles.
Right.
She's just been first 2 games. She's getting hers. She's going to continue to get hers. Like, she's just such a good pro. She knows how to get to her spot. And, that sticky note thing we did in the relaxation zone was what gives you confidence in this team. My answer was Tina Charles post hook shots. So this week I ride with Tina.
All right. She was number 2 on my big board. I really didn't know how to put it, so I'm going to confidently take Nafisa Collier. She's just the best player available, so I can't complain.
No, I think that's
she's averaging 28.5, 5 and 2.5. Tina Charles averaging 21.5, 7.5 and 1. So both great players.
Yeah, and if you weren't going to take Collier there, I was going to take her.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So I think that's a great pick. All right, next I am looking at the Atlanta game, and I am going to take Part of me wants to do it. Part of me doesn't. Second pick, it feels very high. But since we're including blocks and steals, I'm going to go with Brittany Griner.
Oh, okay. Damn. Okay. She was 5th on my big.
Okay, I feel good. I always like knowing that I'm like right around.
I was
your
really
board.
hoping you weren't going to take Brianna Jones, who I'm going to take. She's third. Having a monster season. I don't think she's going to stop this game. 17.5 points, 11.5 boards. If Liv's on her, she might have a pretty good game. Kind of scared. Yeah, give me Brie. Coming home, coming back. She's a monster, as Booker T would say for those wrestling fans.
Well, and we'll see too how Bree handles, because they've definitely battled. They must have battled at practice day in and day out. Competing for minutes at the power forward center position. So
True.
it'll be a different, interesting matchup.
So I got a Minnesota and Atlanta. You got an Atlanta and Connecticut.
So I am going to go to Minnesota. And I am going to take guard Courtney Williams. Again, I hope we give her a hard time, but she is very good. She pulls up and you think, what is she doing taking that shot? And then just switches it and then laughs as she's going back down the floor. So Courtney Williams was my third pick.
Is that your first Minnesota, right?
That is my first. So I have one from each team, and I believe you do as well. No, you do not. You can have one from each team, but let's see what you do.
So she was 6th on my board. 4 is still available, and I'm going to take her. Alicia Gray.
It's a good pick.
20.5 points, 5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. Just big numbers. That closes me out for Atlanta. 3, 4, and 5 were Brittany Jones, Alicia Gray, and Brittany Griner for me. I wanted 2 of them. Got 2 of them. Yeah, but Minnesota now gets tough for both of us for that second player. Not tough. I feel like there's 2 left that are each of us, one of us are going to get and be okay. We'll be decently happy with it, but we each got one, of course. Yeah, no, it's going to be fine. Yeah, we each got one of their best players. If one of us got both Collier and Courtney, it would have been pretty rough for the other.
Probably. So then that goes back to me. 3 games. 2 of these games have a lot of bigs. I kind of thinking I want to stay with guards. I think I'm going to go to... I didn't pick someone from Dallas, did I?
Oh, no.
I have Dallas as well. So I am going to take Paige Beckers from Dallas.
Yeah, she's next on my board.
I mean, I think Enrique could put up big numbers, but so far hasn't been able to do so under this new regime.
Yep, that's a good pick. That would have been my next pick. So I'm going to go with my 8th on my board for the 8th pick, Sanaya Rivers.
Yeah, that's who I was debating. And then I realized I could have picked – I needed to pick a Dallas player first. So Rivers would have been my next choice. So that was a good pick.
So I have Minnesota, both Atlantas, and a Connecticut. And you have Connecticut, Atlanta, Minnesota, and Dallas.
Okay. So then in that case, I'm going to go back to Minnesota, and I'm going to take Jessica Shepard from the power forward position. As much as I love Alana Smith, Shepard's getting to the boards a little bit more, and the name of the game here is total points. So going with Jessica Shepard.
Hilariously enough, she's 9th on my big board, and Alana Smith is 10th, and I will take her.
Yeah, pick your poison there, right? And both players putting up similar numbers when you put everything together.
Just based on points, rebound, and assists, it's 25-24, I believe.
Right, exactly. So either way, you're getting a good player from Minnesota.
So both of our Minnesotas are complete, I believe. Yes, you have Paige. No, Courtney and Shepard. I have Smith and Collier. All right. So what do you need now?
So I need a Atlanta, Dallas, and CT. 1-1-1.
All right.
So I'm going to go to Atlanta, and I'm going to choose Ryan Howard. I think, all the things I said before, sharpshooter, and, she can play make as well, averaging almost 5 assists a game.
Yep, she was next on my big board, but I already have Atlanta, so would have mattered. I need Connecticut.
You need Connecticut and Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. Oh shit, I don't have any Dallas.
You need 2 Dallas.
Yeah. Ugh.
So do you pick a CT player here for the 3-timer, or do you go back-to-back Dallas?
I'm going big board. Oh, is your CTs done?
Nope, I still have one more CT.
I really don't think she's gonna have a big week, but I put her ahead of her. I'm going against my big board. I'm going Bria Hartley.
Rhea Hartley, nice pick.
Averaging 9, 3, and 4. I don't want to be deceived by Liv's numbers. You can have her.
Yeah, it's tough. I actually am, now that you picked Connecticut,
You're going Dallas.
I'm going Dallas based on the strategy.
Yeah, make much more sense, yeah.
And I am reluctantly, because I feel like Arike is the right pick, and that for some reason she'll go off against us. But I am going to go with DJ Carrington instead.
Oh,
Yeah, throw a little curveball at you there.
love her. Not on my big board.
Coming home to Connecticut, wanting to prove that she's a player. I could see her racking up a few steals, getting on a fast break, hitting someone for an open 3 or something. So I'm going with Carrington.
I'll write that down. For you, okay.
So that leaves you with a Dallas.
Aisha Hines Allen.
Nice.
My pick. 7.5, 7.5, and 4 is what she's averaging.
She's a wide body, strong player, very important. She was on the Liberty last year, wasn't she?
I believe so. And her brother's on the Colts.
Yes.
Or was on the Colts. I don't know if he still is. All right. You have a Connecticut and a Dallas. Or no.
I just have Connecticut.
I just have a Dallas.
So I'm hoping she bounces back this week. 3 games to do so. Hopefully more days of practice. Hopefully getting more into a flow. And Coach Mez is designing plays to get her more catch and shoot opportunities. Give me Marina Mabry. Hopefully she's due for a nice big bounce back week.
I couldn't go there, so I didn't put her on the big board. So that makes sense. I'm going with the same thing for Dallas, Arike and Gumbawale. Didn't want to pick her, but I'm going last pick. I'm picking the star that's not playing well. You're picking Marina Mabry, the star that's not playing well. She's averaging 12, 2, and 2. Marina was averaging 11. Both should be averaging 20.
Right.
So hopefully it'll probably be a wash. We'll probably get the same amount of points for them. All right, so my team is Nafisa Collier, Brianna Jones, Alicia Gray, Sanaya Rivers, Alana Smith, Bria Hartley, Maisha Hines Allen, and Arike and Gumbawale, who I just put on your team for some reason.
That's fine. You can give me an extra player.
And then your team is Tina Charles, Brittany Griner, Courtney Williams, Paige Beckers, Jessica Shepard, Ryan Howard, DJ Carrington, and Marina Mabry, 2 of my favorite players.
Sounds like a winning week for the Fighting Joe Blacks over here.
The 2 on my big board that didn't get picked. Number 12, Olivia Nelson-Adodo, and number 16, Maddie Seacrest.
Yeah, both decent players, and could have easily made the teams.
Yeah, next year. All right. Who picked first this week?
I picked first this week.
All right, so I'll go brightest star. I didn't write anything down because I didn't want to repick Tina Charles, but No, I'm repicking Tina Charles. She is just too good, and we do not have anybody that's going to outplay her.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be
I dare
surprised if
somebody to
anyone
outplay
else.
her. I dare
I'd be
somebody.
I'd be surprised if someone does. But I am gonna go with Sanaya Rivers as my brightest star. I really liked what I saw from her, offensively, defensively. Just you don't have to be the leading scorer for people watching at home. You don't have to be the leading scorer to be our brightest star of the week. Tina's just done it all these first 2 games for us, so that was
Yeah.
an easy one. I'm hoping Sanaya does the same thing, whether she gets 10 minutes a game or 25 minutes a game. I think she's going to have an impact.
I just wrote Sanaya picked you, the brightest star.
So hopefully Sanaya builds on her debut and continues to make an impact.
Yeah, we'll have to see. If we ever argue about it over text after the 3 games, we'd have to throw it up on the Instagram poll.
Yeah, we'd have to leave it to a fan vote as the deciding factor. I think that's completely fair.
Good. So yeah, that wraps it up, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we got a loaded week ahead of us. 3 games. 3 games. I kind of like that. I know you said before, oh man, we're not playing until Friday. I think it's great. Let these girls get some more practice, get some more
Yeah.
reps
No, it's
under
good
their
for them,
belts.
bad for us.
Yeah, bad for us as the viewer. Friday
3
night,
split out games, but with 2 teams having to play back to backs, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a favorable part of the schedule. Not too much travel for us right away. Where it's back game, travel, game, travel.
Yeah.
So hopefully that bodes well. Hopefully Morrow gets back healthy sometime early next week. Hopefully Lacan's back. Hopefully we have a nice rotation and continue to integrate everybody. Again, the calming presence here. I hope everyone watching realizes that this is going to take time. And again, if we don't start seeing improvement as the season goes on, then I'll be a little more passionate on here for the fans at home. But early on in the season, we're still trying to figure out who's going to be doing what. We don't know what it's going to look like 2 weeks from now. So keep your spirits high. Don't get discouraged at an 0-2 start. There's a lot of 0-2 teams. There's a lot of 1-1 teams. Everyone's still trying to figure it out.
All right. And remember, tell everyone, if you have an Instagram account, follow us on Instagram. We're almost at 100. Please, if you have a YouTube account, I don't care if you're never on YouTube. If you have an email account, just sign up for YouTube for us, please, and subscribe. We have 15 subscribers. It just looks pathetic. We're getting more views than we have subscribers. So I know people are watching our videos. Just let's get some subscribers up.
Doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, it's free. It's just a button that you click, and then under my subscriptions, it'll just tell you when we have a video. You don't even need to like our videos. We'll wait for that. I'll tell you to like our videos much down the line. Just subscribe first. But
we're at 95. Yeah. We're close. So
yeah,
please share and everything. We appreciate everyone who watches.
Shout out to Joan. She said she sent it to 5, I think 3 or 5 friends. She's a real one. So if you have friends that like WNBA or basketball or podcasts or Connecticut pizza, I don't care. Just send it to them. Say, hey, subscribe, download, listen. You can listen with the sound off. Yeah, get our numbers up. Just kidding. All right. Thanks for listening.
Have a good one, everybody.
Peace. Bring the heat.